2 weeks. 14 mornings where I kissed her on the forehead like I always did. 14 nights where I told her I love you while her phone lit up under the pillow with messages from the man who was fucking my wife in our bed every Tuesday and Thursday. And she never suspected a thing. Not once. My name is Rohan. I'm 34, a software architect in Bangalore who built a life that looked perfect on Instagram. Priya and I had been married 8 years. We had the flat in Koramangal with the balcony plants she babied like children, the golden retriever named Leo who thought she was God, and the kind of love people screenshot and send to their friends saying, goals. Until the day I accidentally opened her second WhatsApp. It wasn't even dramatic. I was charging her phone because she'd left it in the kitchen while she ran downstairs for milk. The screen lit up with a notification. Miss your hands already? From a contact saved as Gym Trainer Arjun. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I just stood there in the 7:14 a.m. sunlight, heart hammering so hard I could feel it in my teeth, and I made a decision that would change everything. I stayed quiet. For 2 full weeks, I became the best husband the world has ever seen. Day 1. I woke up before her, made her favorite filter coffee with the exact amount of sugar she likes, and when she came into the kitchen sleepy and smiling, I pulled her into my arms like it was our honeymoon again. She melted against me, laughing. "What's gotten into you?" I kissed the top of her head and said, "Just lucky to have you." Inside, I was bleeding. I started documenting everything. Not angrily, methodically. Screenshots, timestamps, voice notes she left on his chat when she thought I was in the shower. Hotel booking confirmations under her maiden name. I even cloned her phone quietly using the software I'm paid stupid money to build for tech companies. She handed it over happily when I said, "Baby, your phone's acting weird. Let me fix it." By day 4, I knew every detail. They'd been sleeping together for 4 months. Tuesdays and Thursdays when I had late stand-ups. The same hotel near MG Road. Same room 412 because the view reminds me of you, baby. He called her my little firecracker. She sent him nudes from our bathroom mirror while I was asleep 10 feet away. And still, I smiled. I took her to dinner at our favorite rooftop place on day 6. Candlelight, fairy lights, the works. She wore the red dress I love, the one that makes her eyes look like burnt honey. Halfway through the meal, she reached across the table, squeezed my hand, and said, "You've been so romantic lately. Is everything okay at work?" I looked into the eyes of the woman I would have died for once and said, "Everything's perfect now that I know what I have." She actually blushed. That night, she initiated sex for the first time in months. I gave her the performance of my life. Every touch calculated. Every moan from her I recorded in my memory like evidence. When she came, whispering my name, I almost laughed from the sheer insanity of it. She was still wet from another man 2 days ago. By day 10, I had everything I needed. Bank statements showing cash withdrawals for shopping that matched hotel charges. Hotel CCTV footage I paid a guy to pull. Turns out money talks louder than loyalty. Even a voice recording of her telling him, "Rohan is so boring in bed compared to you." I could have ended it right there. Could have thrown the phone at her face and watched her world burn. But I wanted 2 more days. Because on day 14 was our anniversary. 8 years. I planned everything like a symphony. I booked the same resort in Coorg where we spent our honeymoon. Told her I wanted to recreate our magic. She cried happy tears when I showed her the booking. Packed her sexiest lingerie, thinking it was for me. The night before we left, I sat on the balcony smoking a cigarette I hadn't touched in 6 years. Leo came and put his head in my lap like he knew. I scratched behind his ears and whispered, "You're coming with me, buddy. She doesn't get to keep you too." The next morning, we drove to Coorg with the windows down, her favorite playlist playing, her hand on my thigh. She looked so beautiful in the golden morning light that for a second, I almost forgave her. Almost. We checked into the exact same cottage, rose petals on the bed like 8 years ago. She jumped into my arms, legs wrapped around me, kissing me like she was 22 again. I kissed her back. Then I pulled away gently, smiled the same smile I'd been giving her for 14 days, and said, "Priya, I know about Arjun. The color drained from her face so fast it was almost comical. I kept smiling. I've known for 14 days. Every message, every hotel, every time you came home and kissed me with his taste still in your mouth. Her legs slid down from my waist. She took one step back, then another, until she hit the wall. I stepped closer, still calm, voice soft like I was telling her the weather. I stayed quiet because I wanted to watch you. I wanted to see exactly how good you are at lying to the man who gave you everything. And baby, you're fucking exceptional. Tears started pouring down her face. Real ones. The kind that come when you realize the cage door has been open the entire time, and the tiger was just watching you dance. I took out my phone, opened the folder titled For Priya, and turned the screen towards her. Hundreds of screenshots, photos, timestamps, the voice note where she called me boring, the hotel bill from last Thursday. Her legs gave out. She slid down the wall and sat on the floor in her pretty white sundress, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. I crouched in front of her, wiped one tear from her cheek with my thumb like I'd done 1,000 times before. I loved you more than my own life, I said quietly. And you threw it away for cheap hotel sex and gym bro compliments. So here's what's going to happen. I told her everything. The divorce papers already filed that morning before we left Bangalore. The alimony I was generously not asking for because I didn't want her money. The fact that her parents and all our friends would receive a beautifully designed PDF at 9 p.m. tonight titled The Real Story of Our Marriage, with every single piece of evidence. The only thing I was keeping was Leo, and the flat, and my dignity. She begged, she cried, she tried to touch me. She said it was a mistake, that Arjun meant nothing, that she would do anything. I stood up, looked down at the woman I once thought I'd grow old with, and felt nothing. Not anger, not even sadness anymore. Just the clean, cold satisfaction of a man who had played the game better than she ever could. I left her there, on the floor of our honeymoon cottage, and walked out into the Coorg evening, with Leo's leash in one hand and my future in the other. 2 weeks of silence, 14 days of being the perfect husband, and she never suspected a thing, until the exact moment I wanted her to. Some people burn their marriages down with screaming and broken plates. I burned mine down with a smile. And the most terrifying part? She still doesn't know that the real punishment wasn't the PDF. It was realizing that for 14 entire days, the man she thought she was playing was actually playing her like a goddamn violin, and I never missed a single note.